going to move to the next session, which is about presenting the different EU initiatives around the energy transition in the rural areas. And we are welcoming today 4 speakers: Veronika Madner from DG Agri, Liviu Ion Stoshita from DG Inner, Andrea Carosi from the Covenant of Mayors for Climate and Energy, and Bojan Maleki from the Energy Community Advisory Hub. So we have a session of 30 minutes. We agreed with the different speakers the time that you have for your respective presentations. We will not have the time to organize a debate afterwards, but I invite any one of you, if you want to raise some reflections, questions, you can use the chat, and we will also be able to use them for the other sessions, and in particular to come back in the breakout sessions. So I'm inviting Veronika to present, to make her presentation. So I think that you will present by yourself.
Yes, thank you very much. I will try to share my screen. So one moment. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. Yeah, so thank you very much for the invitation. My name is Veronika Madner. I'm working in DG Agri in the unit for environmental sustainability. And I'm dealing especially with support under the Rural Development Fund for Green Investment, which also includes support for the production of renewable energy. And today I would like to give you a short overview about the possibilities under the Common Agricultural Policy. So the next slide, it seems that it doesn't work. Okay. Very short, the political context, as some of you might know, there have been different initiatives with regarding to achieving climate neutrality, and especially with the Green Deal and also the Fit for 55 package, where we have the clear aim of reducing our greenhouse gas emissions by 55% till 2030. And to reach climate neutrality by 2050, this topic has become a very high priority in the agenda. And in this context, agriculture, forestry, and rural areas play an important role. On the one hand, the area, or they can contribute to the decarbonization through the sinks. So there's a lot of area like peatlands, forests, which can provide an important sink. And on the other hand, agriculture and rural areas, they supply the biomass to further develop the bioeconomy and for the production of the biomass. And this has been recognized in the Green Deal and in the Fit for 55 package. What role does the CAP play in this context? So at the EU level, we have 9 specific objectives for the Common Agricultural Policy, and 2 of them, the objective on climate, includes the promotion of sustainable energy, and the objective for the development of rural areas also includes the promotion of the bioeconomy. So these are 2 specific objectives which are related to the production of renewable energy. So, and what kind of support instrument do we have under the CAP? Under the Rural Development Fund, there are different possibilities. Support can be provided in the form of grants, where support up to 100% is possible, depending a little bit on the nature of the investments. For example, for infrastructure, support up to 100% is normally provided. For more productive investments, the support rate is much lower. And there's also the possibility to provide support through financial instruments. I made a selection of the most relevant so-called interventions. So what type of interventions, what is possible under the CAP. So on the one hand, we have investments where different kind of investments on the farm, but also for rural businesses can be made and supported for the production of renewable energy, but also for energy efficiency, investments in small-scale infrastructure, or also collective investments can be supported. Another type of intervention is the rural business startup aid, where support can be provided for rural businesses linked to agriculture and forestry, or if it's part of a leader strategy, the startup can be also provided for non-agricultural activities. The third type of intervention is the cooperation, where also, as many of you might know, leader projects fall under this type of intervention. So there are different forms of cooperation can be supported. Also, the cooperation costs are eligible, and there's also a focus on innovative cooperations, the so-called European Innovation Partnership. And the fourth category is the knowledge exchange and dissemination of information. As many of you also know, it's very important to provide the right advice and advisory services when it comes to the transition of renewable energy, and also different knowledge exchange seminars can be supported under this type of intervention. Just to complement, there is also the possibility to support the production of renewable energy through market intervention. But this support is foreseen for producer organizations in different sectors. So it might not be so relevant in this context. Yeah, so far from the EU level, when it comes to the implementation of these interventions, the CAP strategic plans are the instrument. We are under shared management, which means that the member states are implementing these plans. The member states had to draw up a CAP strategic plan where they defined, based on an analysis of their needs, they had to define what kind of support they want to provide, of course, in the framework of what we defined at EU level. So all interventions have to contribute at least to one specific objective, and they have to follow certain rules. The plans were negotiated and approved by the Commission last year, and since 2023, the implementation started. If you want to get more information what can be supported under the CAP plan of your country, I would recommend to go to the website of normally it's the Ministry of Agriculture, who is managing the plan, and to get more information on the details. Yeah, and very short, just an overview on the approved plans. So during the negotiation, we explicitly encouraged member states to consider also planning interventions for the generation of sustainable energy. In the end, 22 CAP plans included targeted interventions for the support of the production of renewable energy, and the target at EU level is 1,560 megawatts. As you can see, this is not a very high number, which also means that the CAP is not the only instrument available to support the production of renewable energy. There are other EU funds, like, for example, the regional fund, or some member states are also supporting renewable energy production through national instruments. And finally, I just wanted to share with you a few examples. You can click on the links. I think the presentations will be available for everybody, so you can see what has been supported already in the last programming period. and there are more examples available. Okay, thank you very much. That's it from my side. I will stop sharing. Okay.
Thank you very much, Veronica. It was very interesting to see this broad range of instruments financed by the CAP. And as you said, there are also other financing sources that perhaps we'll learn about later today from the other colleagues and participants. So thank you very much. And without losing any time, so now I'm going to give the floor to Liviu from DG Inner, and I think that you are also sharing your presentation. So the floor is yours, Liviu.
No, I think Danilo is sharing
sorry.
his presentation.
Yes, sorry.
Danilo, go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much for inviting me. Very interesting webinar to present a clean energy transition in the rural area. My name is Liviu Stokidze. I'm from DGNR, the unit which take care of dealing with the issue of just transition, consumers, and local initiatives. I will start my presentation. The presentation will refer to a short introduction of the issue of energy poverty and what instrument you use at the level of European Commission to address this issue with member states and local municipalities. As you all know, one important pillar of the Green Deal is just transition, and through just transition towards a clean energy, we try to address some problems that are not necessarily arise from the transition process, but they are old problems which we like to find a solution through the instruments we develop for the transition. And one of these problems is energy poverty. We managed to, for the first time at the European level, we managed to have a definition of energy poverty at the European level, and it is now the definition. It is in Energy Efficiency Directive recently adopted. And the definition of energy poverty in this directive, it means households that lacks access to essential energy services that provides basic and levels and decent standards of living and health, including adequate heating, hot water, cooling, lighting, and energy to power appliances. This lack of access of essential services of energy could be caused by a combination of factors that could include but not limited to insufficient income, disposable income, the high price of energy, and the quality of dwellings. I would say a little bit about the prospect, about the situation, actually, the state of play of measuring energy poverty at the level of the European Union through our statistic, Eurostat standard living condition, 9.3% population declared that they are unable to keep houses adequately warm. And 6.9% of population declare that they have areas on utility bills. And through these, most affected are low-income, vulnerable people, and also from some vulnerable areas, and sometimes also rural areas. And low incomes usually spend even more on energy than the highest income groups. Also, there is a quite relevant percentage of population that declare that they have a not quality of their buildings. And if we move to the next slide, please, to challenges that we face for the moment with energy poverty, we mainly refer to the fact that, of course, at this point, the crisis of prices of energy that we faced the previous years brought the phenomenon of energy poverty in front of us. And even though, as I said, it was there before the transition process, and we need to address directly now. And our main instrument as a DGNR is to determine member states to introduce energy poverty in their strategy for climate and energy and national energy climate plans. And we see for the moment that not all all of these plans include energy poverty as an issue. There is still this perception that energy poverty is only a social policy aspect, but as we said, that for long-term measure, there is not only direct income support, the only support that we can provide to citizens, but it's also to improve the quality of buildings and to ensure energy efficiency of buildings. Also, one important challenge is now that we approve the Social Climate Fund to address the just transition. And for social climate plans, it is very important to have a clear identification of energy poverty in order to design measures that really address energy poor households and vulnerable consumers of energy. And in the slide 4, next one, we will, I'm talking about the new legislation approved that address directly energy poverty. It is, as I said, energy efficiency directive that has approved a definition on energy poverty at the EU level. We have social climate fund, as I just mentioned. Through social climate fund, we will finance measures to address the just transition and that energy poverty and transport poverty. And it's now in the process of approval is the recast energy performance of buildings directive that targeting energy poor households. Also we have some provisions in revised electricity directive, which is now known as electricity market design. And the next slide, I will say something about the instrument we have for working with member states and local municipalities in addressing directly energy poverty. And we just launched, I'm happy to announce you, we saw in the press these days, we just launched the recommendation on energy poverty, updated recommendation on energy poverty, accompanied by staff working documents. And we presented in this recommendation all the aspects of the phenomenon of energy poverty, starting from the state of play, but also how to define the national level energy poverty, how to measure energy poverty, and what measures are the most suitable for each member state according to the local and conditions. And with this recommendation, member state can move forward in design policies, national policies in tackling energy poverty. Another instrument that we use in talking and exchange good practices on energy poverty at the national level is the coordination group of energy poverty and vulnerable consumers. It's a group of experts from member states. We just facilitate this discussion, and we have presentation from experts, but and also exchange of good practices of policies that are in place at the national level. And what is the most important thing for today's webinar is what we do for the local municipalities. We have local initiatives that address local municipalities, as was mentioned already, Covenant of Mayor, and a special initiative which address energy poverty, which is Energy Advisory Hub. And now we can move to the slide dedicated to this initiative, which is initiative pushed forward as a pilot project by the European Parliament, and now is run at the European Commission as a leading initiative to support municipalities in tackling energy poverty. The main role of Energy Poverty Advisory Hub is to provide technical assistance to municipalities and other local actors in designing concrete programs to address energy poverty. The main role of Advisory Hub is to develop the third pillar of Covenant of Mayor, which apart beside the pillar of mitigation and adaptation is to set up of energy poverty pillar, and together with a Covenant of Mayor, we designed a reporting mechanism on energy poverty. On the website of Covenant of Mayor, you will find a set of indicators to report on energy poverty at the local level. There are a set of more than 50 indicators, but of course, each municipality should take those indicators that are applied to their specific conditions. And in the next slide, we put together all the instruments that we provide through Energy Poverty Advisory Hub. As I said, we provide technical assistance. In the slides, right in the left, I need to update those figures because in the meantime, we launch also the second call for technical assistance. So in total, we have now more than 80 municipalities as beneficiaries of technical assistance from Energy Poverty Advisory Hub, and with more than 50 projects approved. And besides the technical assistance, we offer also an extensive program of e-learning with different modules going details of different aspects of energy poverty. We have periodical workshops and international conference for addressing the issue and exchange of good practices, and a set of guidance for municipalities into diagnosing, identification, measuring energy poverty, and design programs that through which that energy poverty is addressed at the local level. Also, for the national level, we have on the website a very useful dashboard of indicators for energy poverty, which present the state of play of energy poverty on each member states. As examples, and we can go through the website, next website slide. Sorry, not in the slides. We just in next one, please, as well. I just want to say that in the second session of the webinar, we had the chance to bring to you some beneficiaries of the technical assistance that we provide with the Energy Poverty Advisory Hub, and they will say concrete things and how they tackle energy poverty in their communities. And with that, in the last slide, you have all the next one, please. In another one, in the next one, because these two slides will be presented by the beneficiaries here. No, the last one. Okay, the last one. The last slide. You will find all the contacts for energy poverty. Energy Poverty Advisory Hub. You have the link to the website, and in the website you will find all the instruments that we develop And we think there are very useful tools for the local communities in designing programs for energy poverty. With that, as I said, I will leave for more details in the second session for the beneficiary of technical assistance. And thank you.
Thank you very much, Livio, for this very interesting and exhaustive presentation of what DG NER and the advisory hub is doing to, I would say, to try to respond to the issues of energy poverty. I also noted that you mentioned issues of a lack of data collection. I mention it because we have received some reflections in the chat or some questions. I suggest that we come back on those questions and reflections which are in the chat in the breakout rooms, because we have a short delay. So thank you very much. And now I'm going to give the floor to Andrea Carosi from the Covenant of Mayors, who has helped us to prepare this webinar. So you have the floor, Andrea.
Hello, good morning everybody. Thanks to the European Rural Pact Support Office for inviting us to this really interesting webinar. Can you properly see my presentation and hear my voice?
We can hear you very well, and we see the presentation in this strange mode of speakers mode, but that probably doesn't.
Okay,
if you can
so maybe I'm going.
Put it in full.
I'm going to open the just a moment, the PDF format, so maybe it's better.
That's okay, no worries. As long as we can see the slides, that's important.
Okay, so can you see it now?
Yes.
Okay, super. So thanks again for inviting us. I am Andrea Carosi, representing the Covenant of Mayors for Climate and Energy European Office. I work on the capacity building and monitoring and reporting tasks, and I am country lead for Italy. So I have a lot of, let's say, connection with small municipalities coming from rural areas. So that's why it's super important also for us today to be here. And I will quickly present in some minutes, but I will also give a comprehensive overview of what is Covenant of Mayors, how the initiative was evolved during the year, and which are the benefits that our municipalities can get for being part of our network. So as you can see here, Covenant of Mayors, I think that most of you maybe already know this initiative, but I think it's useful to know this kind of data for those of you that don't know our initiative. Was launched in 2018, so 15 years ago, and of course 15 years ago we were not talking about still not talking about adaptation. So at the beginning was only tackling, let's say, the mitigation pillar, and then 2 years after the adaptation pillar was introduced, and in 2016 the Covenant of Mayors Europe became global, as you will see later on. And 2 years ago, we launched, let's say, the renew commitments to mitigation, adaptation, and energy poverty. Here you can see the global dimension of the Covenant of Mayors, because I am from the Covenant of Mayors Europe office, but as you can see here, there are regional offices all over Europe, and there is this global Covenant of Mayors coordinating all of them. Some key figures about the European Covenant of Mayors, so you can see how it is really successfully, let's say, all over European member states, because we have more than 11,000 municipalities joining us. We call them signatories, and pretty all of them committed on all the three pillars of the Covenant of Mayors, so mitigation, adaptation, and energy poverty. Like 70% of them also submitted their action plans, and completing this community composed by local authorities, we have also more than 200, let's say quite 500 between regional authorities and local players like NGOs or other stakeholders relevant for local authorities. basically, what is Covenant of Mayors is that it's the most relevant European initiative on climate energy, directly connecting. This is the disruptive, let's say, feature of the Covenant of Mayors, that is directly connect the local authority, even the small one, really, so the villages, to the European Commission. Of course, passing through the different administration levels that you can have from the regional to the national level. So at the moment is the largest movement globally for cities committed to climate and energy action. It's an initiative that is totally embedded into the European climate and energy policies, like the Green Deal, the European missions on adaptation and climate neutrality, the European Climate Pact, and so on. It's an initiative that most of the times it's even useful to local authorities, but also regional authorities to have an easier access to European funding programs like LIFE, Horizon Europe, but also the national funding like the recovery funds. And last but not least, it's super, let's say, relevant for our local authorities, because it really ensures a stronger voice on the international scene. And for this, we have our political board that is composed mainly by mayors or deputy mayors from different cities, from whole size, from all over Europe. And so we show, let's say, we showcase and we show our voice directly to the European Commission at least once per year during our Covenant of Mayors high-level political event. For example, this is a picture from the last one organized in March 23. Which are the commitments for those municipalities that voluntarily commit to join the Covenant of Mayors? So basically, they are the goals, the European goals on climate and energy. So 55% of reduction of greenhouse gas emissions by 2030 and climate neutrality by 2050. Increasing resilience for climate adaptation, and tackling energy poverty as one of the key actions to ensure a really a just transition. So mayors commit to make climate action as a priority for their political board, setting mid and long-term targets, consistent, of course, with the European goals, but they should be also ambitious, at least as the national targets. Of course, with the final goal to achieve the climate neutrality by 2050. They commit to engage with citizens, businesses, and governments at all levels in the implementation of their municipal vision on climate and energy. They commit to act now and together with all stakeholders and communities identified at the local level. And of course, they commit to network and to share what they are doing all over Europe. We have a national approach, so involving from the national level to the local level, passing through the regional coordinators that most of the times are regional administration, regional governments, and the fields of actions of the Covenant of Mayors. As you can see, okay, we have these three main pillars, but then you can shape them in most of the relevant sectors that are interesting for whole municipalities. And the city's journey of the Covenant of Mayors is composed by these steps. So basically, in 2 years, after 2 years of their commitment, local authorities have to develop the Sustainable Energy and Climate Action Plan that is mainly composed by a strategy for climate, for reaching the climate and energy goals, risk and vulnerability assessment, and the baseline emission inventory. So what is the state of play in their municipality, and a plan of action. For those is interested, maybe this is just some more details about what practically a municipality has to do, but of course you can find all information in our website. This is the last information I'm going to share with you. We provide our municipalities with plenty of technical support and capacity building activities, and of course they are all available in our website. I think I am a bit late. I'm super sorry for this. You can find all information in this link, and feel free to contact me in this email, or maybe you can also ask some questions in the next working group. I will be in the second one. I stop here, and thank you again.
Thank you very much, Andrea, for sharing how the cities are committed for climate and energy, and also how the Covenant of Mayors is supporting, encouraging that, and network with the different cities at all levels, as you explained, from local to national and to Europe. So thank you very much for this presentation. And now we are going to conclude this session with Puyan Maleki from the Energy Community Advisory Hub. So you have the floor, Puyan.
Thanks very much. I know we're running a little bit behind schedule, so I'll keep my presentation as short as possible. Just give me a heads up, please, if you can see my screen.
Yes, we can, but it's not
in full
screen. Yes.
There we go.
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
So I'm Puyan Maleki on behalf of the Rural Energy Community Advisory Hub. Happy to be here to share with you a little bit of context about why this initiative was created, give you an overview of our key efforts, activities, and outputs, and also share with you some of our potentially interesting next steps, which we'd be delighted to invite you to. So the Rural Energy Community Advisory Hub is an initiative of the European Commission, of DG ENER, and the fundamental objective is to accelerate the development of sustainable energy community projects in European rural areas. Energy communities is a fast-growing and exciting concept. I'm sure many of you are here to learn more about it. For those who are not so familiar with energy communities, this is essentially a way of collective and citizen-driven organization of energy actions, which aims at decarbonization and decentralization of our energy system. And it was born out of the Renewable Energy II Directive, as well as the Internal Energy Market Directives, which promoted the concepts of renewable energy communities and citizen energy communities. The Commission very much considers energy communities, and particularly rural energy communities, as key to realizing the objectives of the European Green Deal, but they face an enormous amount of barriers and challenges, and that's something which this initiative helps to contribute to overcome. I think it's important to note that this initiative has a sister initiative, the Energy Community Repository. The key difference between the two initiatives, as it says in the title, our initiative focuses rather on collective and citizen actions on community energy in rural areas, whereas the energy community is more focused on urban areas. So our work stream has involved three key pillars: identification of best practices, provision of an extensive technical assistance program, as well as the development of networking opportunities and knowledge products. Well, very much in the spirit of this webinar today on sharing best practices, we have developed quite an impressive variety of best practices of rural energy communities across Europe. We should have, our initiative started at the start of last year, early 2021, and we have to date 15 best practices published on our website, with 5 more pending. The key objective of this is to provide a sound and detailed benchmark for prospective energy communities in different member states to see how other initiatives have been able to design, implement and create impact through their energy community projects. So within these best practices, you can see the different business models used, the methods of stakeholder engagement, where they receive financing, the technologies that they used, and we hope that these will serve as practical guidance for prospective energy communities across Europe, providing a menu of different options. So highly recommend you to visit our website, which we'll share the link to towards later. Then the second pillar of our work has been the technical assistance program. Not only was this, of course, designed to help directly energy communities, existing or prospective energy communities in rural areas, but we've also hoped that this support program provides inspiration and spillover effects to other prospective energy communities, and the knowledge acquired and the know-how developed through this support program can be replicated elsewhere. In total, we supported 28 communities in 12 different member states. Our support varying from relating to investment and finance, legal and regulatory, technical and technological support, capacity building and knowledge transfer, and indeed the communication, amplifying the communication efforts of communities. Our last pillar of support through this initiative has been networking and knowledge sharing. I think particularly interesting here is the 10 guidance documents which we have been creating. 5 have already been published. 5 more will be published in the next 3 months. And these essentially consolidate the findings of the initiative and help in a step-by-step manner thematically support energy communities, whether that be on how to basically set up an energy community, where are the different sources of financing, whether those be public or private, what are the options for technologies which energy communities can use, and particularly interesting to this rural dimension, we look at aspects such as the role of farmers in rural energy communities. We've also been carrying out a breakfast series whereby we invite specific communities to share their experiences with the interested community, and it's sort of a Q&A session where you can find out more on how they've been able to design and develop their community and overcome the barriers. We'll be wrapping up our initiative together with our sister initiative, the Energy Community Repository, in a final conference which will take place in Dublin and online on the 10th of November. Here you'll be able to find out in much more depth than what I've been able to present to you today, the key findings of the 2 initiatives, hear from the communities themselves, and a broad variety of other discussions which will take place. So very much invite you to register and join us online for this final conference. And that's it from me. I will share the link to the website which contains all of these very interesting and relevant resources in the chat, but feel free to contact me if you wish, and I'll also be participating in the breakout sessions later if you would like to interact further. Thanks very much.